Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. It's been a while since I looked at a Schneider fountain pen, so I decided to bring another one out and play with. Compared with the last two that I have shown so far, I would place it somewhere in between the two of them, quality and comfort wise. This version is also made out of plastic as the other two, as such making it pretty light and pleasant to use for those that do not like heavy metal fountain pens. It has a fairly unique shape and it comes with a very large functional clip that is integrated very well with the overall design of the fountain pen. The cap clips into place very secure and it also pulls deep and secure on the barrel as well. And once you remove it, it will reveal a very comfortable section that is made out of rubber. It does have small indentations for your fingers, but they are not very pronounced, and I do not find them as intrusive, allowing you for some degree on how you hold it rather than lock you into a specific hand position. The fountain pen came paired with 5 small international ink cartridges and an ink eraser and corrector that seems to work only with the blue ink that was included. I don't know if it's a specific or special ink, but from the instructions that I received, it was saying that it will work only with the blue ink. I have not tried, so I do not know how good it will work, but reading some reviews online seems to be okay at doing the erasing and correction. So overall, I think it's a pretty decent fountain pen, being sold at a very affordable price and as such making it perfect as another option for students, but not only. The only thing that I find to be a downside on it is that it does not compare with a converter. Unfortunate. With that said, let's put some ink through it and see how the nib works on paper. I did not feel like borrowing a converter from another fountain pen and getting it dirty and then have to clean it, so I will be using one of my very few long international cartridges that I have lying around. It looks like I have been using a lot of cartridges lately. Doesn't really bother me as much, good opportunity to slowly get rid of them, I guess. This cartridge, for a change though, has black ink inside of it, not blue or any other color. Installing the cartridge, no real issue there. As usual, poke it through, squeeze it a little bit until you see ink flowing through the feed, and from there you are pretty much good to go. Remember to use some sort of paper towel when you do this, so you can avoid messy accidents in case you over squeeze and drops of ink will fall off the nib. The nib feels great on the page, quite wet for my small writing style, which might make it a little bit of a mess. Seems to be better suited for those of you who write a little larger than me, but works great, no issues. Very wet though. On the reverse, it's a little scratchy, but very thin. I can definitely see it as being useful during my scribble. Hopefully will work the same on my Fabriano paper. I'm not sure what side I am going to use the most yet. No bounce or line variation on the nib though, pretty stiff, but pretty good for writing, no complaints there as well. Now let's see how it will behave when I'm attempting to do a scribble with it. As I was staring at the blank paper, I realized that I have not used blank ink for a couple of sessions now, and I have been relying heavily on the ink's ability to layer up to let me build up the shades and values. I was a little fazed by the fact that now I have to plan a little bit more careful and rely more on hatching techniques and not layering up the ink. Something that I have to be honest, I have never been that good to begin with. I usually hatch things in a very random way, in case you haven't figured it out yet. And then I panic and add more and more hatching on top and around until things start to hopefully blend in a more pleasant overall scribble. That was the case for today and wasn't helpful that I really had no idea on what I wanted to do. and kind of started with some random lines, and then, like usual, something started to take shape on the page. I kind of turned out with some abstract portrait of a bird-like person that looks a little bit intense or serious about something or at something. Almost scrapped it, to be honest, again, but I forgot to stop and start with a new one as I was listening to some songs, and eventually it kind of started to look interesting to me and decided to stick with it. The end result, it's very random. I'll let you decide what it could be. To me, almost looks like a character fit to be in one of the One Piece characters. A bird dude that ate one too many bad fruits. Probably somehow I was influenced by it since I've been watching a little too much of it lately. With the scribble aside, the fountain pen was actually pretty enjoyable to use. A little bit annoying only because I was not able to use the reverse. On this paper, for whatever reasons, was pretty much unusable, and the very wet line that I was getting on the normal side of the nib was not really what I was looking for. Probably that was one of the reasons I ended drifting a little bit from my regular type of scribble and in a more abstract side of things. I could not do finer details and keep the lines separate with the normal side of the nib. Lines being too wet, when they were getting too close to each other, basically the ink was jumping into the other line, making one huge blob. I managed to find a Swedish spot that I was able to use for some finer-ish lines by keeping the pen upright basically, but that was not very comfortable, so I only used it in the spots where I really wanted some finer lines. Eventually though, towards the end, I kind of ran out of patience, embraced the nib as it was, and just started adding heavy lines and shadings. Probably I should have done that from the beginning. I would have probably had more fun and finished a little bit earlier. I'll try and remember that one for the next time. One of my big minuses is that I always forget to practice with a nib before I actually start doing my scribble. I did brought up the pencil and the color pencils a little bit, mostly only to try and give it a little bit more depth to the character that I had on the page, and nothing else. And the colors just to give some interest and a splash of life to it, especially to the eye. I think it turned out okay in the end. Don't hate it as much as I thought I would. I guess in the end I can't win them all, and sometimes you get just okay results. It's good to see all the progress in the end, I would say, not only the better pieces. Or at least what I would think it's better. Now, my inability to get something really good with a fountain pen does not mean that the fountain pen had any kind of major issues. The only complaint was the reverse, but very few people will have any issues with that part, especially when used for writing only. I could have fixed it, but at the same time, I couldn't be bothered either. Fun fountain pen to use nonetheless, no issues recommending it if you like what you see, and for the price I think it's a decent fountain pen with a lot of potential. Anyway, with that said, thank you for joining me, enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and I will see you in the next one. Wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.